everyone, my name is Megan and I go by they, them pronouns, and I was a former TCP intern this past semester at Lesley University. So this is how I came to know the organization, and maybe you know a little bit about me already because you've seen my previous video. So yeah, I'm doing another video today, and it will also be art therapy based, which is my background, which might be a little bit different than something you've done before. Again, it's more process oriented than product oriented, so we're not looking at so much as what it looks like in the end, and it has to look a certain way, and you know, you have to follow certain art rules and proportions and color color patterns or anything like that, color schemes. Nothing like that. Really just tapping into your creativity and having fun with it and seeing what happens, really. Yeah, maybe you tried art therapy before, maybe this is something new, and I really just welcome that and embrace that, so that's totally fine. Yeah, without further ado, I think I'll go over materials and we'll go and get right started. Okay. So for today, you'll need, the most important part is an old book. This was just something like off the street I found. You can often find books that are, you know, really cheap, maybe at a thrift store. You don't have to use your own book. That would really be hard for me actually, to go on my bookshelf and use my own book for some reason. Maybe you have an old book and you don't mind using it. Yeah, so thrift stores, off of the street, anything like that. Maybe your book could come from like a friend or a family member. Just say, hey, I'm gonna do some art with a book. Yeah, so just like a book you don't mind creating in. And then you probably don't want to read anymore. Water cup, because we'll be working with paints today. And some paintbrushes. I just have a few different sizes. I have like a bigger flat one. I don't know if you can see. Let's see. And then I really like the smaller ones because we'll be working kind of like a smaller frame, like a book page basically. So just a couple different round small brushes, nothing too fancy. And whatever paintbrush you want to use, if you want to use a bigger one, smaller one, feel out, maybe a combination of both. I just have somewhere I can put my paint in. Maybe you have like a painter's palette. I honestly just use this old paper plate and I just reuse it and reuse it. It works great for me. And then just like a bunch of different acrylic paints. And yeah, I think that's it for materials. Oh, and just like a rag so you can clean your paintbrushes if you change from colors to colors. And honestly, you can use markers if you want, totally optional. I have some markers here as well because I never know what I'm going to need when I get right into it. So yeah, without further ado, I think I'll start the music and we can start creating. So just give me 1 second. Cool. And so I'm just going to open to a blank page. Oh, actually, I want to show you what I already made in it so you kind of can get an idea. And this is more free structured if you're saying, oh, what are they talking about? Like, what am I actually doing? This is where I'll be explaining that. Yeah, honestly, it's more of like an unstructured kind of way to explore. And yeah, if you're someone that doesn't like so much structure, this may be like really, really good for you. And if you like a lot of instruction and structure, you know, it might be more of a challenge. But yeah, just tapping into, if you need a prompt, maybe thinking of what am I feeling right now, and just sitting with that for a second, thinking about it. Like, what am I feeling? What is coming up for me? And how do I want to express that? Yeah, in an art form. So this is an example of what I did earlier in one of my college classes. We were learning about altered books, and as you can see, I like hollowed out with an X-Acto knife, so be careful if you're using an X-Acto knife because they're really, really sharp blades. But just cutting each layer out. I don't know if you can like kind of tell what I did. So like each page is cut, and it was like pretty tedious. You could do like a couple at once, but you kind of get the idea. Each page was cut, so it kind of has this like see-through effect, like a look-through effect, and you can kind of see all the pages, which I kind of like. So that's an option if you want to go that route. Or there's this other thing you can do. I think it's called like blackout poetry, I think. And you can highlight certain words just by blacking out all the other words. So if you're more into like poetry and written word, that's an option. Yeah. So I'm just gonna open to a new page, and here's another example. Let's see. Just trying to, I actually don't really like this book. It's weird to me, so. Yeah, let's do this page. So I just opened up to like a chapter page and like a blank page, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and get started and paint, basically. So taking my palette, and I don't have like a really big idea going into this, if you're like wondering. I don't have like a huge prepared idea. Maybe I don't want to move that there so you can see what I'm doing. And again, finding your paintbrushes. Maybe I want to go in with like a bigger one first. I think I will. And maybe like looking at the text on the page, see if you want to do anything with that. Maybe if any words are like popping out to you. And again, if you need more of a prompt to get you started, like what are you sitting with today, right now in this moment? For me, there's like a lot of uncertainty coming up. So I might kind of work with that uncertainty. And again, whatever you want to portray is totally valid. It doesn't have to be the same as mine at all. Just taking some blue. And again, this is just acrylic paint. You can use acrylic. I'm not sure what watercolor would do. Might be interesting. And this is called an altered book. Just gonna mix some colors together. And again, this is like a really just quick way of mixing colors. It's not like the professional way, but in art therapy, you know, anything really goes, you know, so. Just making like a really light blue. I don't know if you can kind of see what I'm doing. Just a nice light blue. And then I'm going to go in and just go for it, you know. I'm really excited about doing this today because I've never actually done a paint in a book. I've done, as you kind of previously saw, like more cutting out and like Sharpie work, like that blackout poetry, but never paint. So this will be really interesting. I'm just trusting the process. You might have heard me kind of mention the process before. Just kind of going into it, trusting it, seeing what happens in the end. Now I'm going to take a smaller brush, just my preference. I'm looking at the words. And I'm probably going to try to highlight some that are popping more out to me, so blocking out the ones that don't. So my kind of feeling that I'm working with is uncertainty. So I'm just keeping this word, it says waiting. And that's kind of, you know, how I feel. It really matches what I'm trying to go for. This actually has pretty good coverage. I wasn't sure how I was going to cover these words, but it actually has like really good coverage. I think it's so cool that certain words kind of jump out at me, and it feels like so relatable to, you know, how I'm feeling. It's awesome. Art can like hold so much for you, and it holds a lot for me too. That kind of idea is expressed through a term. It's called like a safe container. It just means that it's a space where you can put your feelings and emotions and thoughts and worries and dreams and, you know, you kind of get the picture. Everything. And art can really hold that space for you, and it'll be a container. Like when you're done with it, you can honestly close the book, put it away. You know, it contains it in that space. And that's more of an art therapy kind of concept as well. And at the end, I'll definitely share my work so you can kind of see what I've been doing. I know it's kind of far away, but I'll definitely give you an up-close feel. good. That looks really good. That's what kind of the look I was going for. So I blacked out like a lot of the words and covered them up, and kind of just left the ones that were speaking to me. And then I'll put this in the water. Not this one, because if you leave them out, acrylic can dry really fast, and if you leave paint on them, they'll kind of like harden with the paint on, and then it'll ruin your brush. So always keep a cup of water nearby and just kind of put them in there as you're working. And to clean them, just like do what I'm doing, kind of like tapping down, maybe like wiggling it around, kind of brushing the sides of the cup. And maybe you're like, Megan, I already know this. And that's totally fine. Just kind of giving you some tips along the way, and you know, take what works for you. And now I'm drying them. Just again with my like painting towel over here. Just kind of drying them off so they're not wet when I go to apply a new color, because that'll kind of affect the color. Might as well just do this one too. And something I learned was that when you're working with acrylics and oils, I think it's both. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like all paint, even maybe like, I think wall paint too, yeah. A lot of paints, when you apply them, they'll look lighter, but as they dry, they'll go a little bit darker. So always keep that in the back of your mind, like it will always dry a little bit darker. Hope that helped. What else do I want? For some reason earlier, like when I was thinking of this directive, which is an activity, I just kept picturing like the sky, so maybe that needs to come into here. I know I told you I didn't have a big idea, but honestly, that's not like, you know, a huge plan. I didn't write it down or anything. Trust me. I really like to just give a lot of like power to the creative process and lean into that spontaneity, you know, being spontaneous an artist. So like, I don't know what it is. So good for me. Some people feel more like stifled or intimidated by that, but to me that's like ultimate freedom. So I'm kind of painting like this window, this like window shape with this white, kind of like a square. Because it just feels right, you know? Just going in with the white. Well, it's more like a little blue white, bluish white. Really, really light blue. Almost white. You don't have to be a pro at color mixing or anything to do art therapy. Honestly, if you've never done art before, you can still do art therapy. You don't have to be an artist to do art therapy. You know, I've definitely heard, oh, I can't draw, oh, I can't paint, I'm no artist. And I'm like, great, you don't have to be. Yeah, it's definitely like a misconception that you have to be some great artist to do art. And if that's the one thing I can kind of let you know and like you take away from this is that you do not have to be an artist to do art. Kind of making this like window pane shape. You know how it goes like this, that like cross shape. Just looking at my colors. Wow, time flies. You might notice that too when you're making and creating. You're like, where'd the time go? Just kind of adding the clouds in. And art can be really cathartic, which just means like really healing, and maybe you've heard that term before, maybe you haven't. Catharsis, cathartic. A cathartic moment. Again, it's like another art therapy term or concept. Just put those dots in, or small lines rather. And in the end, yours may look nothing like mine at all, and that's totally okay. Washing my brush. Very important. I know it's a little bit monotonous, not as fun. They say if you treat your brushes well, though, they'll last for a long time, so. Excuse me. I love this color. Copper. It's cool. It's like kind of shiny. I wonder if I have silver. I'll mix that. I know it's so fancy. I keep all my paints in this bag. Let's see here. I know I have gray, but honestly, you can mix gray. I know. Oh, look what we had. Silver. I knew it. I'd rather silver than copper for this. I knew it, y'all. And it's like actually shiny. I don't know how they do that. Very cool. And again, taking the smaller brush. Kind of going in with the clouds. Ooh, yeah. Like a silver lining. When I think of silver linings, I think of clouds for some reason. You know, like the silver lining in uncertainty. And I love like how much you learn about yourself just by making. It's crazy. It's so awesome. I swear I didn't like plan this out. I hope your creation's going well. Hope you're having fun with it. I'm having fun with it. Just speaking from my personal experience. And I'm gonna go ahead and not just do the clouds in a little bit of the silver, but I'm also gonna do those like tiny little lines in the sky again with this silver color. Yeah, that looks really cool. And it's a little bit like translucent if you don't like glob a lot on, which is nice. that's super cool. I feel like I have a lot of paint left, so maybe I'll just do like a little bit of the outside. Outside the just like window pane thing. And I'm just noticing that like my page is kind of curling. Can you see that? Interesting. It's probably from like the paint. Like I said, I've never done a book with paint in it, so definitely like a little bit of a learning moment process for me too. Aside from the curling, the page curling, it's actually coming out really cool. I know it's not about the product, like I said. I'm enjoying the process as well. You can enjoy both. What happens if I mix a little bit of color in with the silver? Let's see. I don't know. I don't know if that's shiny. Maybe. Okay, I think we're coming at the end of the creating time. And maybe you're not even close to being done, and that's totally okay. Just, you know, pick this up when you can, or if you have some time right after I say bye, maybe just keep working. And for me, I think after the paint dries, I might go back in with like a white like gel pen. I love my gel pens, so that's the thing, like when it dries, maybe you add a little bit more like pen stuff or like markers. Totally up to you what you want to do. And like just see what happens, you know, like allow yourself to play a little bit. When's the last time you actually played, you know? I think we forget as we get older of that kind of like childlike play. I feel like I could just keep adding. Okay, I do want to kind of show you what I've been doing up close. So let me pull away. Ah, it's so hard. Wrapping up, last stroke. Last strokes. Okay, and then remember, watercolor. And yeah, I say we're right on schedule. So I'll bring it up so you can see what I've been doing. And don't mind like the page curling, because as soon as like you close it, it'll probably just like, you know, flatten out on its own. Okay, here I come. Up and over the chair. Here we go. Don't mind the page curling. Okay. So I left like the chapter number because I thought that was cool for some reason, like 34. And then you can kind of see like the window, and then some words in the window, and then like this kind of sky moment. Whoa, just like, yeah, there we go. Maybe I can focus it. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. So it says, like the words I kept, it says, waiting, a small smile, intended as a sign a sign of optimism for me. I kept my hands clasped in my lap and stared straight ahead. So kind of playing with that idea of uncertainty. And yeah, I think this really captures it. So I'm just gonna leave my book open so it can dry, and then after it's all dry, I'll close the book so it can obviously kind of go back flat, the page go flat, I mean. And I might go in with like that gel pen after it's dry, like I said. Yeah. Let me just turn the tunes down. So that really wraps up our time together. I can't think of anything really else we need to do. I feel like you've accomplished something just by trying it. And again, it doesn't have to look a certain way or, you know, be the image in your head. It can totally just take on another form, and that's totally okay, totally valid. So I hope you got a little something out of it. I feel like I did, and I'm more at peace with like that uncertainty. Yeah, which is kind of nice. So I just want to say thanks again for coming and trying something new, putting in your time and your energy, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this creative process, and thanks for coming on the journey with me. Bye, till next time.